Mm-hmm. Is there language here? the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu sheng 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 wei miao fa bai jian wang jian nan zao yu wo jian jian wen de shou chi yuan jie如来真实义. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Jingliang, Venerable YongHua, Venerable Love people, and all good new advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨经讲大事，师父上人，各位出家人，各位善知识，阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát kính thưa Thánh Lương Quốc sư, Hòa thượng YongHua, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. Today is the what's today's day? The 6th, 7th? No one knows. 6th of March 2021. We are gathered here to continue investigating the preface written by Master Jingliang on the Avatamsaka Sutra. All right, we are currently on slide 154. Okay, let's jump right into it. We went through a lot of different explanations. Usually, when in the past when I spoke sutras, I gloss over a lot of things. But now with this Avatamsaka Sutra here, which is the store of the profound principles in Buddhism, in Mahayana in particular, I'm going to spend the time to go into these important concepts as long as it takes until we get through it. Okay? In fact, for your information, the last couple of weeks when we talked about, for example, the quick servants, and the view delusions, that's a form of certain teaching that as well, that supposed to help you reach those grounds, those levels quickly. But eventually, someday, you future teachers, future Dharma brothers, Dharma masters will understand that why we go through this process of explaining the Dharma to you. Okay? So if you cannot get enlightened in the past couple of weeks, then maybe in the future these seeds will be planted and they will mature in the future and help you reach levels of wisdom that you're supposed to reach. Okay, 154. Going through the text again. Understanding and practicing in one's person. Okay. The Vietnamese limited translation is wrong. To avoid you Vietnamese translators, you have this mistake here. These two words here are extra. There's no such concept nor in Chinese nor in English. It should read thực hành tại nơi mình. You remove this vẫn do này. This is incorrect translation. This shows this translator does not understand the Dharma at all. What is the Dharma saying? It's exactly in English. Okay, it gets lost a little bit in the English translation, but the Chinese is very precise. He says, "You understand, and because of your understanding, you will apply it every day through your body." So that's what the Chinese meant by practicing in the body. 形在身，功 or 功 or 身，在功。The Chinese means that you practice at your body. Okay, that's what the Chinese means. So he says, once you understand, you practice at your body, meaning you apply it at your body. Practicing here means you apply it. Okay? Because once you understand, then you use your body to carry out the understanding, to implement the understanding, to take advantage of the understanding. Because if you really understand, really understanding here means that you have wisdom. You penetrated the meaning of the teaching. So when you hear something, okay, and you understand, you really penetrate. We're not talking about understanding intellectually here, that you agree. For lay people, when you talk about understanding, to you it means that you agree. Yes? I understand, meaning you said, I agree. It makes sense to me. Yes or no? This is how lay people think. They understand, understanding to them is that they agree. It makes sense to them. Whereas understanding here, 解 here, is actually has a connotation in Chinese that even the Chinese don't understand. That's a play of words, excuse me. I don't mean to make fun of the Chinese people. But 解 here, in the Chinese character, in Buddhism, has this connotation that you are able to penetrate the meaning. And it has a homonym of the 解. 解 is here has a meaning of liberation. It's not understanding alone, but you liberate from the thinking, your thinking mind. Understanding here in Buddhism, the 解 character is very, very special. Okay? It has the understanding in the context of you understand not with your mind. You understand and you penetrate the understanding here and free yourself from your intellect. Your understanding right now for you unenlightened people is that you understand with your intellect. It makes sense to you. That's your understanding. The 解 here is to free you from that very intellect that prevents you from opening your wisdom. So what do you do if you are not enlightened yet? You hear these things, okay? And you understand 解 here. You understand the meaning of the words in Chinese. Chinese people, help me out, please. I'm really going out on the limb. Yeah, I do look a little bit Chinese, okay? Because the Chinese came from Vietnam, you know that? Okay. The Chinese, really? Check your history. The Vietnamese migrated from Jiaochu and then they move up north. Just kidding. Okay, so what happened is that the Chinese 解 is very interesting. You have to understand the meaning of the words, that 解. Okay, that's what the Chinese character means. Okay, you understand the meaning of the words. Okay, so that's what the common ordinary people, the intellect says, yes, I understand. But actually here, once you understand with the words here, okay, if you are enlightened, you realize that you reach a level of understanding beyond the words. The words cannot convey. The 解 here is to free yourself from the constraints of the meaning of the words, meaning constraints from your intellect. This is very important, people. Please pay attention, especially you smart people, you intellectual people, you scholars. You understand the words, especially the scholars, they say, I investigated this sutra for my entire career. I spent 40 years researching this sutra. Therefore, it's not a word that I don't understand. All you do, scholars, people, is that you understand the meaning of the words, but you don't understand, okay, the profound intent behind these words that you can only reach there by not using your intellect. When you stop relying on your intellect, that's when you understand the jie here. That is really the meaning of that. It frees you from your intellect. This understanding here, you first understand the words, and then it frees. When you free from your intellect, then you go into next level understanding, okay? That's called wisdom. Okay? This is only in Buddhism, by the way. This is how the Buddhists understand this character, jie. They're supposed to understand it this way, but the Chinese don't understand it that way anymore. There's no way to explain this in English. Okay? I'm not Chinese, and I don't understand the Chinese that well. But I notice, for example, there's a horn here, and there's a Dao here, right? There's a horn, there's a Dao here, and so somewhere there's a knife that you cut off something. You cut off the intellect. This is a very, very profound Chinese interpretation from a Vietnamese. Okay? All right. Aren't you glad I'm Vietnamese and not Chinese? Yeah, I'm not constrained by the Chinese intellect. Never mind. Okay, so just kidding. So the jie here is that you understand the meaning of the words, and then again, to finish my point, if you're not enlightened, you understand the meaning of the words, yes? The meaning of the word meaning, you says, you are supposed to bow for 1 hour. You're supposed to cross your legs and sit for an hour in full lotus. That's you understand the instructions, the words, okay? And what do you do once you understand that? You 行在 cung. Okay, thank you. I forgot my Chinese, that's all. Okay? 行在cung. So meaning, once you understand the words, you say, I understand I'm supposed to cross my legs, sit in full lotus. Okay? And then you 行在cung, therefore you apply that with your body. That's what you're supposed to do. If you do that, then you will move to the next level of understanding called jie, without the intellect. Is that clear? So this is iterative. It's not like you say, I understand, I cross my legs, therefore that's it. No, it's you understand, you execute, and all of a sudden one day you're free from this understanding, this jie here. You're free from the primitive level understanding, and therefore you then apply it to the next level. You use your body to apply it, this understanding, to the higher level called wisdom. What does it mean? Can I be blunt with you? Okay? So what it means to us is this what happens in real life. We learn about Buddhism, these Buddhist concepts, okay? Let's take the example of sitting in full lotus, okay? We understand the instructions, how to sit in full lotus. So far, so good. And then we follow instruction, sit for an hour, okay? And that's difficult. You fight, and you keep on doing that. You sit an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, okay? That's the first level. When you continue that, that's what is called 行在cung. You keep on applying it. So understand, apply. Understand, apply. So far, so good. If you do that, okay, because you Xing Zai Gong here, you will move back to the next level, move on to the next level of Jie, understanding. It's beautiful. That's why Chinese is very, very profound. Again, thanks to the Vietnamese, remember? Okay? The Koreans don't find it funny. Okay? So, because you keep on Xing Zai Gong, because you keep on applying it, applying, then naturally you move to the next level of Jie, which is wisdom. And when you have wisdom, you will apply it differently, better. Okay? And let me tell you, may I? Okay? We Vietnamese know this. Okay? Next level application, it is so much more fun. It is so rewarding. When you have wisdom and you apply it, it is so much more fun. Life is wonderful. That's the depth of Mahayana. And it is so beautifully expressed right here that the Chinese don't understand anymore, unfortunately. They all say, Xing Zai Gong, Jie Xing Zai Gong here. Actually, that's what the meaning here of this great sage who did that himself. He spoke from personal experience. He says, I learned from the scriptures, I learned from my masters, I apply it, and I apply, and one day I say, oh wow, the meaning here actually is more profound than I originally thought. And once you understand that, he Xing Zai Gong differently. It's actually executed at a higher level. Okay? And that's where life becomes fascinating, becomes wonderful, becomes so rewarding. The practice is it itself so much more fun, so rewarding, well worth all this hardship. All right? You see the depth of this teaching here, that's in 4 Chinese characters. He tells you the secret of this process. There's no way you can express it in English at all. Okay? That's why I encourage you, you want to really learn wisdom, you have to go back to the Chinese. It's really, really where the wisdom is. The secrets of the wisdoms, the profound wisdoms, are in the Chinese characters. You see, this great teacher called the Jing Liang, a great master Jing Liang, he explained this profound principle. His in martial art. Anyone does martial arts? No? Oh yeah, I have a martial arts person back there. Okay, Taekwondo. Oh, vô Vietnam. No. Tai Chi. No, never mind. Okay, keep your secret. Okay. In the Kung Fu, okay, have anyone watch Kung Fu TV series? Of course, yeah, we all do. Yeah, at least the smart ones. When you learn martial arts in Chinese, there's something called 秘诀, right? 口秘诀, meaning that they have this phrase like the golden chicken standing on one foot. Okay, so these beautiful 秘诀, okay, these secrets that when they practice the martial arts, I say, golden chicken standing on one foot. And when you do that, You do physically, and you remind yourself this mi jue. If you do that, actually one day you understand why. There's a clue as to why they call this particular stance, position, a certain way, a certain name. And that's a wisdom in Chinese that came actually from Shaolin, which actually came from Vietnam. Okay? So far, so good? Okay. So that's why it's so beautiful to me now, looking back, that look at the Chinese phrase here, 4 Chinese characters. It is conveys so much meaning that it looks so casual, and the Chinese say, "Oh, I know what it means. You practice your body." No, actually it has multi-layered meaning. It has a secret meaning here. 解行在功 is actually a mi jue. Does it make sense? That's how I relate to you, trying to relate to you with martial arts. Okay? Yeah. All right. Next. One life perfects the fruit of distant kalpas. In one life, you perfect the fruits of distant kalpas. This refers to the fact that it's hard work. I don't know if you ever started a company. Okay? When you start a company, you start a new business. Okay? I liken that as to raising a child. It's your baby. And you nurture your baby. You worry about your baby day and night. Huh? It takes years. It takes a lot of blood and sweat, broken hearts, and jubilations. Okay? All these things. And that's what is meant by distant kalpas. It takes a long, long time. It takes many lifetimes. By the time your kid goes to college, your hair is turned white, you're probably divorced and heartbroken and totally bankrupt. It costs so much nowadays. Okay? The point here is that in order to do anything worthwhile, it takes a long, long time. And the most worthwhile thing is this fruit that you can harvest after all these years of practices. And the great thing about this is that all of you who are here, who listen to this, okay, you are doing that right now. You are putting in the hard work, the grunt work, what the great master called distant kalpas. Okay, it takes a long, long time, many iterations, for you to perfect the fruit. Okay, that fruit, okay, is the culmination, the essence, carries the essence of all your hard work. Okay, like that farmer who toils under the hot sun, in the rain. Okay, and he finally can harvest this fruit of his labor. That's what he's referring to. Okay. The connotation here is that we have to work for it. Okay? There's no substitute for this. Okay? We all have to do this. The sooner you do it, the quicker you can get this fruit. You can perfect this fruit. Some of you who are so looking forward to going to the Pure Land, okay, let me tell you. Okay, you say, I'm going to Pure Land. I will end all my suffering. I will only know pleasure and joy. There's no more heartaches. Okay? Life will be so wonderful. No suffering whatsoever. Okay? That's what you're going to. But let me tell you, when you go there, your kalpas become even more distant. It takes longer. Whereas here, for us here, who are not in any hurry to go there, right? Are you in a hurry to go? I'm not, right? What's the hurry? There's good food here. There's good wine. There's good beer. I just ate a very heavy lunch. I try to control myself, but it's hard. So, what happened is that if you go to the Western Bliss Pure Land, I need to tell you the truth, okay? You will have no more suffering, and because of that, it takes you a lot longer to perfect the fruit for you to become a Buddha. There is a trade-off. You go there, you don't suffer anymore, okay? You only know joy. But it would take you a lot longer to become a Buddha. Whereas when you're here, okay, you suffer a lot more, but you become a Buddha a lot faster. So that's why typically, the Pure Land practitioners, they say, I want to abandon here, I want to go to Pure Land, this is so much suffering, it's not worth it. Okay? Actually, it's only because they don't realize that there's a trade-off. When you suffer more here, then your progress, you progress a lot quicker. Your progress is a lot bigger, a lot more significant, because it's harder. Okay? Think of it like, if you want a billionaire, you want to become a billionaire, then you logically have to work harder than becoming a millionaire. It's 3 more zeros. Okay? What other example can I give you? Never mind. Let's stay away from politics. Okay? So that's why you come back to an impure world or our world. In one life, you will perfect all the hard work that you put in. Okay? And that's why it's not uncommon for the Buddhas to go to impure world and perfect the hard work. Okay? Questions? All right, next. 155, preface text. The Lion's Prince, the ocean-wide assembly, suddenly certifies in the grove. The Elephant King turns round, 6,000 realize away as the words fall.
狮子奋训，众海顿震于林中，象王回旋，6000道沉于岩下。
Okay. Commentary on slide number 156. Lion sprints. Okay. Lion sprint it's an analogy that refers to this samadhi called a lion sprint. Okay. And a lion here is the king of the beasts. Okay, therefore he represents, because he's the king, he's brave, he earned his position of a king by being brave. Okay, and being fearless, and so that's why this lion sprint here symbolizes the courageous vigor. Okay, And that's what you need to do when we practice, whether you meditate, whether whatever you do, okay? You need, in order to be successful, you need to be vigorous, you need to work hard, okay? That's for sure. There's no substitute for hard work. And you need to be brave. You cannot be fearful. You cannot be afraid to fail. All right? And so this line sprint here symbolizes strength and speed. Okay? This represents a skill, or represents a state of being where you're very fast. Fast in what sense? Fast because your mind is extremely, extremely fast. Okay? This is real. With each level of samadhi, high level of samadhi, your mind is faster than before. Okay? So there is the fact is that when your samadhi increases, your mind is so much faster. And that's why the people with samadhi increases, they work fewer hours, but they just produce more. Believe it or not. Okay? And that happens to my disciples. They improve and they find out that they can work, are more productive with fewer hours. Why is that? This is important. This is why in Buddhism we stress so much in speed, in samadhi development, because you are able to be more productive so that you can help more people. Strength, it comes together. The speed is speed of mind, okay, and also speed of body. Okay, I'm talking about something I'm sure you don't have a clue, but eventually when you one day you realize speed of mind actually also translates into speed of body. You're so much faster. Okay, and you will find out for yourself. Okay, this is why, by the way, that the martial artists, okay, when they reach a certain level, they all meditate because they find that they are calmer, their mind is faster, and their reaction is faster. What they don't realize, none of them realizes it yet, is that physically they can be lightning fast. That's how fast the body can be. The body is no longer a constraint to the mind. Because right now, you believe you can lift so heavy, right? You can be so fast, you can run so fast. It's your mind, your thinking mind, that limits your physical output. By that, okay, it's you who are limiting yourself. Because you know too much. You too smart. You limit yourself. For example, can I give you an example? Take, for example, the nature of the mind. Okay, it's real, and you can experience every day. I remember when I was young, 19 years old, and the first time in my life, I flew from Vietnam, very warm, in December. Okay, in Vietnam, December is very warm. Okay, to Minnesota in December, which is very cold. Okay, and I had on my suit, one shirt, one suit. Okay. The suit is like gabardine, you know that fabric, you girls. I'm sorry, I'm racist, you know that. I'm sexist, all those things. Okay, so it's a thin fabric, okay, for the Western suits. Okay, it's not winter. It's just like regular, business suits, and one shirt. Okay, and I flew to the airport, Minneapolis and St. Paul Airport, and it was snowing. First time in my life I saw these beautiful snowflakes flowing down. Until then, I only saw that in photographs in Vietnam. We know, oh, snow, this is what snow looks like, and you say, oh, wow, it's so white and it's round, And the first time in my life, actually it's floating down, snow, all those snowflakes filling up the skies. And my brother was half an hour late. Okay, so he says, I'm sorry, I met my girlfriend. Can you wait for half an hour? Okay, he says, oh, no problem, I'll wait for an hour. And being innocent, he didn't tell me where to wait, right? So I went outside at the curb and waited for him. And I was there watching the snow. Oh, wow, so beautiful. Oh, the snow is so fantastic. I sat there and watched, and half an hour went by. My brother came, and he says, what are you doing? How long have you been out here? I said, half an hour. He said, really? Here's a coat. So he gave me this flying jacket, in Minnesota. It's $20 back then, 1995. Okay, Target. Okay, so flying jacket with a hood. So he gave me, said, you don't catch some pneumonia. And the funny thing, I got in and said, what pneumonia? I didn't know it's cold at all. So what happened is that back then, can I relate to you? And now looking back, I realize this is what happened. In my innocent mind, my pure mind. What? What? I heard that. So cynical. In my young mind, okay, unbroken mind, untamed mind, there's no notion of cold. So you went out there, what cold? And that's precisely my point I'm trying to make. We ourselves, okay, if you're free from these prejudices, that you are Vietnamese, that you are, let's stay away from politics. You woman, that's the woman's gender. God, is there anything I can speak safely here without offending someone? Oh, God. It's so hard lecturing, let me tell you. Anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is our prejudices that makes us contaminated by the environment. Okay? So my example, this is what I live, I never could do it again, by the way, so please don't ask me to demonstrate. I would kill me. Okay? Now I know too much. Now I know how cold it is in December in Minnesota. Okay? So once you have these prejudices, it corrupts you. And that's how you get pneumonia. But for half an hour, can you imagine half an hour sitting out there at around 27 degrees Fahrenheit for half an hour with one suit and one shirt? That's it. And the slacks are one layer of slacks. That's it for half an hour. Are you crazy? And I was fine, no cold. But now, if I, do that, I probably would catch pneumonia and die. All right? So it's how interesting to me and personally how we know too much and it makes us vulnerable. And actually, that's what hinders our spiritual development. We are too smart. We know too much. How do we get here? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So what happened is that the Bodhisattva, when he becomes enlightened, okay, after he becomes enlightened, he sheds all these prejudices. Okay? He doesn't discriminate between men and women anymore. He doesn't discriminate against Vietnamese versus Chinese. Wait. So what I said earlier is not about discrimination. It's like a joke. Just to clarify myself. Okay? So what happened is that part of wisdom is to recognize your prejudices and undo those prejudices. That's why you can acquire the speed and the strength of that samadhi. Questions or comments? Okay, someday you get it. Okay. So the Ocean-wide Assembly certainly certifies in a grove this assembly. So many bodhisattvas were gathered at the Jeta Grove. Okay, and they listen to the Buddha's sermons, the Buddha's teachings, and that the Buddha's teaching, by the way, is a form of subtle teaching. And they listened to the teaching, and they became enlightened. So many of them. That's what this is referring to. He is describing what happened. Okay? It's not a projection. This is actually what happened when the Buddha spoke the Dharma. Okay? Unlike you listen to my lecture week after week. No one becomes enlightened. There's a small difference. We get there eventually. 157. The Elephant King turns round. 6,000 realize away as the words fall. This is an anecdote. The Elephant King turns around. This is an anecdote where Shariputra was a king elephant in a prior life. Okay, and he has his retinue with 6,000 elephants. Okay, and it's funny, and you probably don't recall this, but what happens in Buddhism, more often than you realize, is that there's something called loyalty. These people, these great cultivators, these sages, okay, they have a long history with their teachers, with their leaders. Okay, many lifetimes. They were part of the retinues of their teachers. Okay? Okay. So Shariputra was an elephant king. And elephants have a way of behavior that's very interesting. The elephant king turns the whole body. He doesn't turn the head. Okay? When he looks to the right, like I do, we go like this. The elephant king turns the entire body he goes like this, whereas we turn our heads only. Okay, so that's what the behavior of an elephant king. Okay, and back then the anecdote is that the 6,000 bhikshus who actually were disciples, followers of the Venerable Shariputra, number one in wisdom for the under Arhat disciples, among Arhat disciples of Shakyamuni Buddha, and he's in charge of 6,000 bhikshus. Okay, he's training them on behalf of the Buddha. And they heard of the Bodhisattvas, Manjushri, and so he brought forth the admiration and respect for the great Bodhisattva of wisdom, and number one wisdom among Bodhisattvas, whereas Shariputra is number one wisdom among Arhats. Okay, so these 6,000 Arhats wished to see Manjushri. Okay, so Manjushri manifested a body for them, okay? So appeared before them. This is how the Chinese speak. I manifest a body for you, meaning he made an apparition, okay? Not different from a ghost appearing in front of your eyes. But he spoke Dharma, okay? He spoke Dharma for these 6,000 bhikshus and taught them the Dharma and making them believe in particular the great compassion Dharma, okay? And this is special because bhikshus, arhats, do not have compassion. They lack compassion, okay? And so because of that, Manjushri, Venerable Manjushri, knows what these bhikshus, the great arhats, needed is in order for them to continue to make further progress, okay, they need to develop compassion. So thanks to Manjushri, who spoke Dharma for them, the 6,000 bhikshus wanted to develop great compassion, and therefore they decided they want to continue to their practice to become a Buddha and not stop at arhatship. Yes, you too.
Ru Shang asks, Master, will Daniel, a Catholic, increase speed in body and mind and samadhi just by sitting at one of your lectures?
Absolutely. It might take millions of lifetimes though. All right. 6,000 realize the way as the words fall, meaning that 言下 here, the fall here is a direct translation of 下, okay, but 下 is not fall, okay. This is too what is it? Literary, too accurate. 言下 here is actually, and the 下 here is actually below a fall, whatever. Okay, but actually it means spoken. Okay, when Manjushri spoke these words. Okay, as Manjushri spoke Dharma for them. And the xia here is very special. It also has special Chinese. I don't know. I know I'm not Chinese, but so I don't understand Chinese as well as I should. But the Chinese language is very profound. It carries so many connotations. The xia here actually means, first of all, spoken. Okay, so far so good. Spoken. As soon it's spoken, okay, as soon as the sound comes out, these people realize the way. Okay? That's the magic of the Dharma. It's beautiful. You spoke the Dharma, you hear the sound, and they open the wisdom. Okay? The boy becomes enlightened. Okay? So that's a xia. So this has this sudden connotation. As soon as the sound was produced, these 6,000 bhikshus became enlightened. Okay? That's the power of the Dharma right there. All right? However, it also means one thing, one more thing that is very, very important. Does anyone know? Catholics, forget it. You Catholics cannot get it. Let's leave only authentic Buddhists. But if Daniel can answer this, then he's an authentic Buddhist. Go ahead, Daniel. Okay, shame on me. Stop picking on Daniel. Okay, so what is the connotation? Xia is high to low. Yes, Wei Mao. Daniel, go ahead. Unmute yourself, Wei Mao.
Okay, so what was the question about?
The question again is for Buddhists, authentic Buddhists. What is xia? What is another subtle meaning of this character, Chinese character xia, which is fall, was translated as fall.
I have no clue.
See, he's no authentic Buddhist. I told you, Daniel. Any authentic Buddhist? Someone says, is that my understanding? No, she's not authentic Buddhist either. Go be with the Catholics. Yes, orange, file yellow.
Dạ, con nghĩ chữ hạ đây á, là cái bổn phận của người học trò phải biết hạ mình và tôn trọng cung kính vị thầy thì mới có thể học được.
See, that's authentic Buddhist.
Rõ ràng đó là người Phật tử chân chánh đó.
Do we need to translate? Doesn't matter.
Master, I think the word "xia" here is meaning that the student need to lower them and then show respectful to the teacher.
It's last night I was talking to a Googler, okay, and I was complaining. I said, years ago I went to Google campus in Mountain View, and I was very happy. You know, I was so happy. Oh, the bicycles are so nice. You know, they're different colors. They're multicolored, and the conference room is 3 times as big as our Buddha Hall for 40 people. It's obscene, if you ask me. In Mountain View, you know, that's the kind of wasted space they have. But I said I was happy because I was excited. I was looking around and taking in all the sights and the smells and the sounds and the food. Cafeteria food is incredible. Free. That's the best part of it. But I said I no longer want to go there. I'm no longer interested. And I explained why. I said because these engineers, these Googlers, they have a bad attitude. They sort of like, so what have you got to sell? They all have that attitude, except for one or two. So, you know, we spend so much energy, so much time, so many people, and to go there, and the majority of them, 99% of them, 95% of them, have a bad attitude. They have a bad attitude like that, they cannot learn. They can't learn. If you are not respectful, you cannot learn. That's why children need to be taught to be respectful towards everyone. Have to be respectful. This is a superior part of the Asian culture, folks. In Asia, we teach our children to be respectful. One of the first lessons in life in Asia culture, yes or no? Because when the children are not respectful, we punish them severely. Okay? And that's very important, because unless you're respectful, you will not be taught. Because if you're not respectful, you cannot learn. You cannot understand. The jie we talked about earlier, the Chinese jie character, it comes from being respectful. Remember the horn I talked about? There's a horn. Because without the horn, you become more respectful. I understand Chinese, you know that? Okay? So you got my point? The point is that we have to be respectful, whether you're children or you're adults. If you're not respectful, you will not be taught. And that's why in our Asian culture, we have to stress being respectful to our children when they're still young. Because when they get older, no one will teach them that anymore. It doesn't matter. In the future, even when you are rich, when you are smart, when you are a genius, when you win the Nobel Prize, and you're not respectful, you will not be taught. Why is that? Why? Why is that? What happened to the Googlers is that they think of it as a sales pitch. The Dharma is a sales. That we're trying to sell you something. Whereas what the Dharma is what? It's a gift. Do you give willy-nilly? You say, hey, let me give you a Rolex. Can I give you an Apple Watch? Huh? Do you do that just to anyone? That's my point. The Dharma is only given to you when and because you are respectful. You're not respectful, it's not given to you. You can come to the temple for 1,000 years or 1,000 times. Nothing will be given to you. The Dharma must be given to you in order for you to get it. You can come to the temple for 1,000 lifetimes trying to steal the Dharma. I guarantee you, you will never get it. It happened. In my prior years of teaching the Dharma, I was desperate. Well, a little bit. Okay? When you're desperate, people preyed on you. Yes? Women know what I'm talking about. Men too. Okay? So, I was trying to figure out what to do and build a Sangha, have a temple, establish a temple, have my followers, and I became a target. I have all these dharmas I learned from Master YongHua, okay, my teacher. So what happened is a lot of these monks and nuns came smelling blood. They said, this guy's desperate. Let's come steal the Dharma from him. So when I left my master's temple, I brought with me this recitation handbook. It was this thin original. Give me a yellow handbook. Anyone has it here? The CDTB Daily Recitation Handbook, do you have it here or not? What's the matter with you? You don't have the Dharma? This temple is weird. What kind of temple is this? I took that Daily Recitation Handbook that I always got as a novice. I bought it, by the way. I didn't steal it. Okay. And I took a X-Acto knife. I cut it right at the edge. Okay? So I broke it. And then I bound it. Okay? So from here, this thickness of 1/2 inch became 1.5 inches. Because I wrote many notes on that. I wrote about the meaning of each line of the Shrangma mantra. Okay? I took notes on how to hit the woodfish. Big one, small one, where to hit the bell. So I have all this treasure of this Dharma from a CTTB with me. I was very proud of it. It took me a long time to acquire it, day after day after day, you know. And I took notes. Oh, yeah. Because what? I was planning on leaving anyway. These people thought that, oh, no, we're so great. No, I was planning on leaving since day one. So I had to take notes. So I took this thick note, okay, with me. I went to Lu Mountain Temple. I brought it with me. So when I did the ceremony, I opened it up and said, oh, hit the bell here. And woodfish, you, hit. 1, 2, 3, that kind of thing. So I knew everything. And what did I do? I accepted what I call ugly nun. Not only is she short, she's so not good looking. And I knew that she came, she stroked my ego and said, oh, Master, I have no respect for anyone, but I like you, I respect you. Teach me, okay? And you, the Master, you learn so much from Master YongHua, I learned, you know, so teach me. And my point is that she's there to steal my Dharma. Okay? And within 6 months, all of a sudden, my daily recitation handbook disappeared. It disappeared. And it has everything I have. All the Dharma from CCTB I learned is all there. It's gone. So my Dharma treasure accumulated over 4.5 years. It's gone. And later, just fast forward a little bit, a few more years later, when I kicked her out, okay, went to the rooms, people went to the room and couldn't find the book. It turns out to be under one of those statues in Buddha Hall. She hid it under the statue in Buddha Hall because someone saw her pick it up before she left. So my point here is that she came to steal the Dharma. I knew that. She stole the Dharma. Okay? How much good did it do to her? Zilch. 0. Because after she left, She lost everything. Lost everything of what she had before she came. When she came to me, she was first stage Arhat. After 3 years, she went to second stage Arhat without me teaching her anything. By observing, being there for 3 years, she went to second stage Arhat. When I knew that she was trying to steal the Dharma from me, I didn't teach her anything. Absolutely not. Okay? But after she left, she went back to about 0 now. Okay? When you create offenses, that's when you fall back. My point here is that the Dharma cannot be stolen. It has to be given to you. That's why when I give you out the 42 hands and eyes, you guys say, "Oh, I finally got it." Okay? Okay? Yeah. Unless I give it to you, you can steal all you want. There's nothing you can do with it. Jewel Mountain has a question.
Jewel Mountain asks, back in the days, there was no audio systems. So does this mean it's not just sound that caused sudden enlightening for those 6,000 people?
Back then, though, they said there was no one?
There was no audio systems.
No audio systems. Okay? But they could hear Manjushri. When Manjushri spoke the Dharma for the 6,000 bhikshus, they could hear him. Back then, the Bodhisattvas like Manjushris do not need audio system like we do nowadays. All right? So let me continue with the word xia. Shall we? Okay, Chinese. Continue our Chinese class. Now, so the concept xia here is more like bestowing. Okay? Bestowing, not just give, but the Dharma is bestowed to you from high to low. That's the only way the Dharma is given to you. If you want to learn the proper Dharma, it has to be bestowed to you. It's not like you go to the university and put your feet up in the table and relax and say, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And that's worldly knowledge. Transcendental knowledge is a gift. It has to be given from someone better than you to you. When the Buddha spoke the Dharma, he bestowed the Dharma to his listeners. He says, I'm speaking the Dharma for you because it's my gift to you to help you. And that's how the Dharma is spoken. It's given to you. Okay? Meaning that there is a gift from above you. All right? Not only is it a gift, but also there is a hierarchy. Buddhism is very hierarchical. There is high and low. There is teacher and pupils. They're not equal. I'm sorry. I know in the modern era, we all equal, right? We want equality. Women equal men. Please. Let's face it. Women are What? Peers? No! Chengdu, what happened to him? He disappeared at the wrong time. Women are better than men. That's my experience in my own Sangha. The facts speak for themselves. What can I say? I would like to think women are better, but in my temple, it's not so true. Women are better. But never mind. There's something called certain teaching where men will surpass women. Hopefully. YouTube has a question.
Diego asks, could reading books be considered as stealing Dharma?
What? I hear both people.
No, could reading books be considered as stealing Dharma?
Books, and I heard both people. I have a lot of prejudices in case you haven't noticed. Reading books considered what? Stealing a Dharma? There's some books that you're not supposed to read. For example, like the Vinaya, the precept books. It's not for lay people. Okay? That would be considered stealing a Dharma. There are dharmas where you are prevented from reading, you're not allowed to read. If you read them on purpose, then you're stealing the Dharma. And it's a very serious offense. Okay? The offense is that you steal the Dharma, you will never, number one, be able to understand the Dharma. So that so ugly nun who stole the Dharma, that the Dharma she stole from me, she will never be able to understand. For so far into the future, she will never, when she meets that Dharma again, the proper Dharma, she will never get it. Doesn't matter how smart, how rich, how wise she is, she will never get it. Okay? That's how serious it is. Okay? You will never be able to get it. Okay? And then another consequence is that you will fall to the hells. It's a very serious offense. You only see right now. You only worry about, I'm not getting what I want right now. I want to get rich. I want to be, I want to be a big monk. I want to have a big temple. And now, after you have this big temple, you have this money. What's happened to you when you die? You fall to the hells, and you stay there for billions and quadrillions of lifetimes, suffering, being tortured. And how scary it is. You should be scared, trust me. Okay? So that's why it's not worth it. It's not worth. No. So the answer to the question is that on the regular books, the scriptures, that there's no restrictions on who can read it. You can read it. It's not considered stealing. However, if you read things that you are not authorized to read, and usually those materials actually are supposed to carry something. A warning says, this precept book here is for the Sangha only, okay, not for others. If you see those things, then you're not supposed to read them, all right? All right, and also another thing about not just reading a Dharma as long as we're there, stealing a Dharma, it also happens, for example, I'm trying to teach someone. And a secret Dharma, like a hands and eyes, and you listen in, or you listen to the tape, or the recording, or the video, that's considered stealing a Dharma as well. Okay, that's not a good thing to do. So please be careful. It's not worth it, trust me, to steal the Dharma. All right? All right, where are we? Okay, we're talking about the word spoken. Okay, spoken here. Okay, we should correct this as the words are spoken. Okay, but even that word spoken, the translation is still not accurate enough. It's a xia. Xia has a connotation also, the third connotation of instantaneously. As soon as the sound was heard, boom, they became enlightened. That's why it's called sudden teaching. Okay, and that requires power from the teacher, because, let me put it this way, okay, if the teacher has samadhi power like the Buddha, like Manjushri, then your chances of achieving sudden enlightenment is far greater than, for example, a low-level person like me speaking a Dharma to you. And the fact is that the 6,000 bhikshus became enlightened and you are not. Facts don't lie, let's face it. And it's not my fault. Okay, never mind. Why do I feel so defensive? Or inadequate. I don't know which is which. Anyway, okay, so the xia here has this immediate, as the words fall, okay? So that's a word fall here, that one of the meaning of the word xia is fall, as it's spoken. And there's immediate enlightenment. It's called sudden enlightenment right there. Okay? And so, but most importantly, I want to stress to you the xia here in Chinese, and it's lost in a Chinese connotation, unfortunately. Xia here has the connotation of, I am higher than you. That's why I sit higher than you. By the way, it's by design. You need to look up. You don't look down. Okay? And that's why in our temple, the mezzanine level, no one sits there. Too high. Okay? It's contrary to our Dharma. Okay? So xia here, there is a high to low, high position to low position. And not physical, I'm talking about in your mind. That's why the concept of respectful. Respectful is that I respect you. You're higher level than me. Okay, and finally, going back to the concept of the Googlers, okay, the reason that I complain is because if you're not respectful, it's a waste of time to speak Dharma. They cannot understand. It's a waste of time. Okay, if they want to learn the mechanics, and they say, okay, sounds interesting, I think I can do that. Okay, it might be useful. Then you don't need to come from me, you can come from any of you. Any of you will do, okay? But when I go there, it's got to be more productive than that. Okay, YouTube has a question.
Yeah, Tian Guo asks, what about those intellectuals and scholars reading the Vinaya as a scholastic text? Is that considered stealing Dharma?
Yes. They have no business reading it. Because the Buddha said very clearly, this is for bhikshus only. This is for bhikshunis only. Even our novices cannot read it, cannot listen to it without permission. It's called theft of the Dharma. It's a very serious offense. Okay? It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. And the point here is that, again, what I'm stressing to you is that when you steal the Dharma like that, you will never be able to understand it, period. It's a waste of time. Total waste of time. You may know the words, you may recognize the words, but you will not be able to understand the meaning of the Buddha when he said those things. Okay? Buddhism is spoken to you, the Dharma is spoken to you in order to help open your wisdom, your true prajna wisdom, not your word wisdom. Okay? And that's why I admit to you that I don't understand Sanskrit. If I understood Sanskrit, I probably my understanding of Dharma would be deeper even, because Sanskrit has its own quirks, has its own depth, that was then transferred into Chinese. Okay, so the Buddha's wisdom actually is contained in both the Chinese, I stress the word both, Chinese and Sanskrit. Sanskrit is the original transcription, and then it was then translated into Chinese, and the Chinese and the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas had to manifest as Chinese. Okay, they flew from Vietnam to China basically, and then they added these words xia, these words jie, so that they add a dimension of depth in a Chinese language that's not available in the Sanskrit language. Okay? So right now, in our generation in the US, our English is way far inadequate to be able to understand both the Sanskrit or the Chinese. But it doesn't matter, okay? It's scholarly. The main thing is that when we take the time to distinguish the word xia here and jie here to you, is to help you understand that to speak about depth, the depth of the Dharma cannot be captured by words. That's my point. Okay, whether you understand Sanskrit or Chinese, okay, it still cannot convey the depth of the Dharma. The depth of Dharma is in, your heart. You understand it. Okay? And then it becomes Vietnamese, becomes Chinese, becomes American. It doesn't matter anymore. It's how you express yourself. And you convey the depth from you to your students. That's what matters. Okay? YouTube question.
Diego asks, can we have sudden enlightenment by listening to videos or audios of great sages?
Absolutely. Okay? Unfortunately, I can't think of any video of great sages except for my masters. So your selection is very limited. Okay? Listen to his videos. How's that in Chinese? That's what keeps me in business, because I'm not enlightened, but mine is in English. Yes, you too.
Tian Guo asks, nowadays, books are usually sold online or copyrighted. If we make a copy of your Pure Land or Chan handbook without purchasing it, is it considered stealing the Dharma?
I forgive you for asking this question. Okay, sometimes it's not good to be too honest. She's Chinese, right? Tian Guo. Is it he or she? I never could figure out. Is it a he or she? If it's a he, then I can be more brutal. Okay, so anyway, so this That's called a she, because for some reason I think it's a she complains. Okay? How shall I put it in a way that doesn't offend people? I can't, so I'm going to offend you anyway. I feel bad that I have to copyright the Chan handbook because I need your $20. Once in a blue moon, we put this book here on sale on Amazon, okay? Guess how much money we're making every month? Less than $20. If we're lucky. The book costs $20, but we make less than $20 on average per month. Okay? Okay. So why are we doing this? It's not very bright. It's desperation. That's a problem. When I remember when I was younger at my master's temple, and we discussed this issue as well. And I was very vocal, being younger and more fearless. I used to make a point. I used to tell my superior, I was a novice then, I said, what's the matter with us? These books, the Dharma spoken by my master is not copyrighted. Okay? It's free. You get the tape, you get whatever, you know. It's free. The original tape that they tape in San Francisco and the Buddha halls and so forth, there's no copyright. It's all there. And then they decided to chop it. They decided to edit those things, and then they put a copyright those things. So the original teaching is not copyrighted. It's the edited version that's copyrighted. Let's face it. Okay? The majority of the Dharma that's sold, that they sell, copyrighted, is not the original. It's edited. So to me, it's ironic that the authentic Dharma, the profound true Dharma, is not copyrighted. And what's copyrighted is a bastard version, if you will. So I said, listen, the Dharma is supposed to be given for free. We got to print it from Taiwan, from Malaysia, for free. Okay? It's all free. It costs us this much to have those books. This is what it costs the association. Every single book they sell costs this much. This includes shipping. Okay, so I said, it's free, it's printed for free, it's transported for free. So why are we selling it? Shouldn't we give it away for free? Because it's like if we charge money, then it's printed for free for us, and we make money on top of the printing as well. So to me, it's too greedy, if you will. Okay, so I said we should give away for free, and Chang said, yeah, I agree. I will submit the request and make a suggestion, and nothing ever happened. They continue to sell it. Okay, and I always say, I tried. When's my turn to have my books? That's when reality sets in. Okay, and I realized sets in, and I said, wait a minute, it cost me money to print. Okay, and then for someone to sell, like Amazon to sell it for us, they need to make money. They're not going to work for free. Okay, so I realized that in particular we need less than $20 a month. It helps. Okay, as well. So all these reasons. Finally, I I realized that the difficulties of in that situation. So finally, I don't care if Tian Guo complains or not. Okay, I'm sorry you're not happy, but this is reality. Okay, it's copyrighted because the people who need to sell it need to make a living. In particular, in Korea, we're going to print a Pure Land handbook that's translated, okay? The translation is not free, okay? And then the publisher prints it, it's not free, so they need to make a living, okay? So it's not going to be free, okay? I originally thought I would do the Pure Land handbook copyrighted because we need the money to print more books. Because every time I print books, I printed books, it's too expensive for us. That's why we stopped printing books. So I thought maybe we copyright the China handbook and then sell it and then help pay for future printing. I gave up on that idea as well because $20 a month is not enough to print any books for 10 years. Okay, so what left right now? The decision is that some of them will be copyrighted, like the Pure Land handbook copyrighted, because we the people we work with, they need to make a living. Okay, even though we don't make a living at it, but the others, they need to make a living for printing and for their themselves and for their retailers and so forth. We will still copyright the handbook, the China handbook, and the Pure Land handbooks. Actually, I'm thinking of doing China handbook number 3. By the way, number 2 is being corrected. I said enough is enough. We waited for 3-4 years already. That's stop right now and go to the printing press, copyright it and print it, okay, in English. And then we translate that into other languages as well. Enough is enough. Let's do Pure Land handbook number 2, okay? Print it, copyright it and print it. And okay, so we will copyright the handbook, Pure Land handbook or China handbook or whatever, but the sutras will remain free. Okay, because I don't think they can sell a lot of sutra books. Okay, so unless something happens, I doubt it, because our sutras, it's like takes 3 years to explain one small sutra called the Heart Sutra. 3 years. You have to transcribe it, you have to edit it, and then you have to print it. Okay, my master's handbook, Heart Sutra book is about this thick. Mine is probably about 10 times or 20 times thicker, and we might as well give it away for free, okay? Because no one's going to be able to sell too many of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, give them a match. Yeah, and it's funny because I know we have a kid here who's making a lot of noises, and it's funny because the noise there immediately it's an indicator of his samadhi power. Does it bother you? The noise? I'm asking you. You are so phony. He's so loud because he has samadhi. It's supposed to bother you. Look at that. You see, it bothers me. If he bothers you, it's because his samadhi power is higher than you. If he doesn't bother you, something wrong with your hearing. All right. So that's the way it is. And the rate right now it's going is that we are going to sell those handbooks because we need the distributors. The idea is to distribute them as much as possible as the introduction. And then once they're interested, they can study the real teachings for free. How's that? Okay, so when we go through a distributor, we need to compromise and enable them to make a living. Otherwise, they're going to help us distribute the Dharma. That's the way it is. Okay? All right. YouTube question, go ahead. Oh, he muted. YouTube, you muted yourself.
No, I'm here. Tian Guo asks, aren't Master YongHua's YouTube videos considered great sage videos? They are, in my humble opinion.
Who?
Aren't your YouTube videos considered great sage videos?
My video considers racist. I like to think they're great sages videos. But if you want to know the truth, they're not. Someday they will be. If you ask me, I'm going to look you in the eyes and say, no, they're not. But I believe in the future they will be considered straight sages. All right. Go for the safety. You don't take chances. When you learn the Dharma, be conservative. Stick to the great sages first, because that's what I did. I started with my master's Dharma, and I moved on to the other teachers, and I lucked out, because once I have my Master Shinhua's Dharma as reference point, then it helps me discern the proper Dharma versus the non-proper Dharma, okay? So that's why I recommend to everyone that you should start first with Master Shinhua's Dharma, because that is the standard for the proper Dharma, okay? That's what helped me a lot in the past. And then after that, you have a reference point, and you follow the instruction to practice. You open your own wisdom and you verify for yourself the proper Dharma. Then you're much better positioned for yourself to decide whether the other teachers are the proper Dharmas or not. That's number one. Number two, you cannot fake results. If you follow the teachings and call it improper, proper, doesn't matter. If you follow the teaching and you make progress and then you improve, okay, and that's and ultimately the ultimate improvement is to become enlightened, okay. Then if you become enlightened through that process, then it's a proper Dharma. It's another way to justify it for yourself, okay. And number three, this is what I did. Well, I don't want to tell you. I give you all the secrets. How am I going to make money? It's not funny being poor, you know. But anyway, but being a pandemic era, you know, I understand we're all supposed to be poor and suffering. The other thing that helped me tremendously is I used to love doing Chan, okay? Not anymore, for some reason. And in Chan meditation, the real Bible is a Shrangama mantra. So what I did is, because my master didn't have those details, so I used the teachings of the Shrangama mantra and the Avatamsaka Sutra to make sure that I'm on the proper path, if you will. Because the Buddha's teaching is the proper Dharma. So if you follow that path, and they describe in the Avatamsaka Sutra where you are, and you say, oh, yeah, that's right. And the Shranga Sutra says, this is so-and-so, and you say, oh, you know, that's right. That's how you recognize, if you will, the landscape of where you're going. Because, unfortunately, my master, when he taught the Dharma, he didn't have those details. So that's the third way that I use. I start with Master Shenhua's Dharma, and then when to fill in the details, I have to go back to the great patriarchs, like sixth patriarch, like Jingliang, Master Jingliang, and finally the sutras itself, or the Buddha itself. Okay, that's how you make sure you're on the right tracks. All right. So my advice to you, from my personal experience, is that you stick to the great established teachers. Mine were Master Shenhua, not Master Xun for some reason. The sixth patriarch, Master Jingliang, and Shakyamuni Buddha, and others. Okay, all those are established teachers, no doubt. Okay. All right, we have a few more minutes. YouTube, go ahead.
Diego asks, is it okay to consider you my master, even though I haven't received precepts or refuge under the Triple Jewel?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. I'm not worthy. That's what we Orientals are supposed to say. I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy. But it's okay. Okay, 6,000, going back to 157, slide number 157. 6,000 realize the way as the words fall, okay? What happened is that when you are respectful and the teacher recognizes it, okay, then the gift that's bestowed upon you, okay, may I say, is better quality than the words are for the general audience. Why? Because those words there are directed at you, at your needs, at your karmic obstructions, at your problems, at your blind spots. That's why there's no substitute for that teacher to pupil instruction. No substitute. Just the same as Shakyamuni Buddha used to speak the Dharma, his 1,255 followers, they followed him everywhere, and they learned every day from him. That's priceless. Yes.
Or how would the same spoken words addressed all the different 6,000 people's karmic abstractions and so on?
As far as Manjushri is concerned, okay, Manjushri Bodhisattva can speak to 6,000 bhikshus at the same time, and it's like they speak to each and every one of them individually because of his wisdom, his power. What I might advise to you earlier is about the respect for the individually is because in the typical good no advisor you encounter this Dharma ending age is not at level Manjusri. Manjusri or Venerable Shakyamuni Buddha, okay? They can speak to 1 million people. It's the same as speaking each and every one of you individually. It's the same thing, okay? They don't have a lot of time, so they I give it to you, okay? Whereas for us nowadays, we are not them. So in this Dharma ending age, there's no substitute for individual instructions, if you will. Okay, because of the fact that the teacher doesn't have the same level of wisdom, doesn't have the same kind of spiritual power. Number one. Number two, the recipient is a lot denser. Okay, and it's not uncommon for you sometimes, very often, to be beaten in the head. Okay, repeatedly in order for you to get it. Okay, so that's why the individual instructions, okay, matter more in our era than before in the Shakyamuni Buddha's time, because your karmic instructions are a lot heavier. Okay. I, for example, try to tell people very gently, and they don't get it. So I will, turn up the intensity a little bit, and they still don't get it. Then we eventually end up beating them up physically. Sometimes, very rarely though. Weimang Temple has a question.
Master, you mentioned before at the Master Shenhua's temple, at the beginning you really loved chants, so you would hide in your room and purposely, so you didn't do whatever that you were supposed to do. Now, so the question is, was that considered stealing? Did you make more progress with your chant, or you would have made more progress with doing whatever they were asking you to do, or that you were supposed to do?
All I have to say is, do not learn from me. Bad example. Okay, moving on. Slide 157. They certify to the fruit of irreversibility of position, thought, and conduct. What are they? Okay. Fruits here is success. You success in irreversible, mean you don't regress anymore. Okay, you regress in position, meaning it once you get to 8th ground Bodhisattva, you don't go back to 7, 6, 5, and 4th. Okay, that's what happens when you are in the Pure Land. Never regress. Never. Okay? Irreversibility in thought, meaning that in particular, you want to become a Buddha. And just because it's so hard, it's so long, and you're so much suffering, and your heart is palpitating, and you're so upset, okay? You would say, enough is enough. I'm quitting. I'm giving up Buddhism. Okay? I'm going over to Daniel's side. It will never happen. Daniel. Okay? Not to our true disciples. My true disciples would never do that. Let's go irreversibility in thought. Okay? Irreversibility in conduct. What's most important here to remember is that our practice is based on what? Universal worthy Bodhisattvas 10 practices that we recite in the morning ceremony. That's the basis of our Mahayana practice. First, Li Jing Zhu Fo. Okay? We bow to the Buddha and be respectful to the Buddha. Remember the word respectful again here? Why are we respectful to others? Because they are Buddhas that we don't know about. Hint, hint. How do you know I might be a Buddha? Come on, you guys are so dense. Do I need to spell out everything for you? What if I'm a real Buddha? Have to be more respectful. Huh? Doesn't work, does it? Oh, never mind. Okay, so you bow and you respectful. Bow is the physical expression of your respect. The first thing you do is respectful. Notice that? That's why I stress to all of you, when you teach your children, respectful is one thing. Children, nephews, nieces, respectful. That's critical in life, now and forever. It will never change until you become a Buddha yourself. Okay? You're respectful. Even someone who's lower than you, you're still respectful. All right? And Zheng Zhang Ru Lai is number 2, is that you praise and you sing praises and you to the Buddhas. Okay? Those are the 10 practices that are the backbones of our conducts, if you will. Day in, day out. This is why we recite those things every morning ourselves. Okay? Slowly. 1 Li Jing Zhu Fo. I forgot the tune. Okay? And so forth. Okay? I'm so emotional now. That's my only excuse. Okay? So, those 10 practices, you will never give up on those 10 practices, no matter what happens. Okay? So when you quit our temple, you leave our temple, you go anywhere else, you still use those 10 practices, those 10 conducts, these 10 practices as the backbone of your conduct. Okay? Or your practices every day, your daily life. Okay? And that's the secret. Bodhisattva Dharma, by the way. All Bodhisattva practices, all Mahayana practices are not beyond those 10 practices. You do those 10 practices, you will realize the way a lot sooner than otherwise. And when you do that, something also I don't want to say too much, but universal worthy Bodhisattva will be watching over you. He'll support you secretly. Don't tell anyone. That's the truth. Can we share a little tidbit before we close? Okay, I'm told by this private relic exhibit we have last month during New Year's. Okay, that this pink ball there. Okay, is from Universal Bodhisattva. He says, "Here, it's to you, all of us." Meaning, I am you know what I mean? from the Bodhisattva. You don't know what I meant? Where have you been? Someone explain to him. That's what he says. Isn't that cool? It's so wonderful because I said, what happened to him? We recite him every day. And he's ignoring us. I said, no. This is my ping ball. You have my ping ball. Wait, my own question. Just in case I forget. It's yes, Green.
First of all, I'd like to say that's really good to hear that universal worthy Bodhisattva is watching over us, because I out of all the Bodhisattvas, I personally feel the most affinity towards universal worthy. The question was, though, so the Buddha spoke to the assembly, but also he must have known that his words would be transcribed, and thus everybody who reads the sutra would be part of his audience. And you said that, the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the time could speak for millions of people, which it seems they have done through the transcription of the sutras. So by us reading that, does that mean that it would be direct instructions to us when we read the sutras because the Buddha knew that we would be reading them?
Yes. And let me explain to you. Okay. When you read sutras nowadays, and it matters which sutras and the translation, the translated version. That's very important. Okay? Pay attention. Not just any translation. Has to be the proper translation. Because we no longer have the original instructions in Sanskrit. We have a translated version of the instructions. Therefore, the instruction has to be good enough. That's a very important point to emphasize. Okay? If you have the proper translation version, the scholarly version is not a proper translation, by the way. Except for one person I'm thinking of. Okay, the rest of the translation is from people with no wisdom. Okay, so it's a waste of time. Okay, and so you have this proper translation. It has a similar effect as listening to the Buddha directly, as close as possible. On top of it, if you're sincere, like what we recite every morning in the morning ceremony, the 10 conducts of universal worthy Bodhisattva, those 10 practices, those translations of his original teaching. Okay, when we do that, okay, then it reinforces our connection to him. That's why he'll be watching over us by the sheer force of repetition. That reinforces our sincerity. That's why he says, these people, they're sincere. I will help them attain irreversibility in conduct, in my conducts. That's what he does. And that's the meaning of the ping ball. I said, I'll be watching over you because you should continue on this track. That's a word of encouragement, by the way. Okay. So I should be reciting it more often myself as well. Wei Mong question.
Master, is Venerable Shariputra and Mahamoggaliyana, are they a transformation body of the Buddhas as well?
Which Buddha?
Because toward the end, they say they are the leader of the Isheng Buchu Bodhisattva and the Guanting Bodhisattva. So I would suspect that either they must be a Isangpuchu or they have to be a Buddha.
Why does it matter?
Um,
You only learn from Buddhas, so we have no chance? I resemble that.
I mean, that 6,000 bhikshus could have listened to Venerable Shariputra and become enlightened.
No, not yet. Shariputra is not a Buddha yet. Why don't you move east? He's got a job offer from NSA. I hope he moves quickly. He discriminates. He says, I only learned from the Buddhas. I don't want to, that's what he's implying. He says, Master YongHua is not good enough. I am so offended. Master is not good enough. I want to learn from Shariputra, the real Buddha only. Don't say anything. Don't make it worse. Okay, boy. Move east. Take the job. And go with God, my boy. Anyway, why do you discriminate? Let me explain this to you. Suppose I'm not a Buddha. I'm not a Buddha. It's not a suppose, it's a fact. God, this is so difficult to explain to you. Is it hot in here? My collar? Is it hot in here? I get no respect whatsoever. So I know I'm not a Buddha, but what if universal worthy Bodhisattva decides to help me and possess me, and when I lecture about the irreversibility in conduct, I have no idea what to speak about. And he entered me and he says, okay, when you in the morning ceremony, I will recite 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10 of the universal Bodhisattva conduct. What makes you think it may come from him and not from me? It's possible. Okay? Stop discriminating. Have more faith in your good no advisor. Okay, YouTube has a question. We cannot get away now, and we're going over time now. Okay, go ahead, YouTube.
ML asks, to help living beings, which is best, become enlightened yourself or help form a Mahayana foundation?
Give me money. Just keep it simple. God, what do you think? I'm some kind of bodhisattva or what? What's the matter with you? How about both? Let's have it all. Okay, Way Mountain Temple. So I don't know is the answer. So that's why I said both. Way Mountain, yes.
To clarify, Isangpuchu is not a Buddha yet, right?
It's just before the Buddha.
So they're still not a Buddha yet, right? Or they are a Buddha?
It's one step away. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Meaning it would take a few more trillion years. Literally. Yeah, it takes that long to go from that to that.
Okay, because previously the person mentioned Bodhisattva, what's the name? They were Isangpuchu, so they were still not Buddha, even if he is.
Yeah, they're not. They're not at all.
Thank you.
But they're still very happy. More so than the Catholics. What happened, Daniel? He left already? He's there?
Got some health problem.
Okay, so
he
sorry.
cannot be physically present.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay. COVID?
I have not yet with the blessing of Medicine Master Buddha.
Oh, well. Our heart goes out to the Catholics. YouTube question. Can we end this soon? Yes, YouTube.
Tian Guo asks, is reading Amitabha praise considered a practice of praising Buddhas?
Yes, absolutely. That is why we sing that praise, we chant that praise every day. All right? Yes, all those simple things, like we chanting those things, are incredibly useful to you, incredibly beneficial to you. Okay? And that's the beautiful thing about Mahayana. We all doing these beautiful practices together. They're so beneficial for you, and we don't make a big deal of it. Day in, day out. You know, let me put it this way for you. By the mere fact you chanting that Amitabha praise every evening ceremony, for example, okay, that generates so many blessings that in the future you'll be so rich yourself. Just chanting the praise. Okay? That is if you want to be rich. Because what happens is when you chant the praise there, okay, you praise in the Buddha and you have this rebirth blessing, you go to a place where you don't have to work anymore. And so that's what accrues, the blessings accrue. Okay? So if you go there, you don't need to work. You come to the Saha world where we are, you become rich. You see the connection? Okay, so that's why, and that happens faster if you're not greedy. This is why we don't explain it to you. We just say, let's chant, and let's make a melodious thing, and with all the musical instruments and so forth, and make it pleasant, make it beautiful, okay? And to encourage you to chant it more often, but in doing that, you generate a lot more blessings when you simply do it without any greed, without any expectations in mind. Okay? This is what the Dharma, the proper Dharma is about. It's not a sales thing where we say, you do this because it will increase your chance of going for rebirth to the Pure Land. And then we'll keep the COVID-19 away from you. Okay, we don't say those things because sincerity is you do it because you do it without greed, without expectations, without calculations. Okay, if you calculate, say, I do this because it's beneficial to me. If I do, every time I do it, I gain, X amount of blessings, which translates into X amount of dollars. Okay. Then it's not as efficacious when you do it without thinking. And then you get X amount of dollars multiplied by a big number when you have no expectations. This is why it's important, especially you left-home people, not to be greedy. All right? Okay, we stop here. I wish I could tell you more, but maybe in the future we can talk some more about this. We're 15 minutes over time. So I apologize for that. I stop here and let's do the rebirth transference. Thank you all. See you next time.